Good evening, Metal Faithful. It is I, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich, and this is the Metal Hammer of Doom. Tonight, we are reviewing the latest album from folk metal band extraordinaire Korpiklaani. They have released... Boy, if you enjoy the shows where I can't pronounce shit right, this one's going to be great. Jylhä? Jylhä. Let's go with that. Jylhä. Vodka! No, Jylhä. And this is their 11th studio album. It was released on February 5th, 2021. We have one single and / video from this album, Levaluhta, which was released on October 23rd, 2020. And I'm actually, it's funny, I'm actually looking at the translated Wikipedia page. So I have both the songs in their original language, and I have them in English, which will be fantastic. Of course, the song... Occasionally, Korpiklaani records a song in English, you know, like vodka or tequila, but a lot of their music is in their native tongue, and I think that's the case with this one as well. I don't think they did any real fun songs on this one about alcohol. I miss beer. Speaking of beer, here's Jesse. How are you, sir?
Mark Radulich, back again, ready to rock and roll, talking some Korpiklaani. This is at least the second time I know that we've covered, you and I at least, have covered an album from them. I don't know if you guys have done one before I was on here, but yeah, man, I'm ready to talk some Finnish folk metal. And so, just by the way, you got the translated Wikipedia there. I was told, at least according to one website, that there is no translation for the title of the album. I'll read to you what I got here. It says, the title of Finnish band Korpiklaani's 11th album has no direct English translation. Jylhä describes a scene of natural majesty, but alludes also to the emotions evoked. That's from Kerrang.com. Doesn't have anything there for the translation for that, does it?
No, actually, the way... So I Googled the album, and it led me to this Finnish version of the Wikipedia page, and of course Google will automatically translate foreign language pages for you.
Nice.
So the whole thing is translated into English, but you're right, Jylhä wasn't translated at all. That's coming up as the name of the album. And this is not a very in-depth Wikipedia page. It's one sentence long and a track listing. So what I read to you is all it says.
Okay, I ran through the song titles through Google Translate earlier today, and I'm sure they're probably going to match up. So that's great. Yeah, man, this is a band that impressed me when we first listened to them. It had to have been 2 years ago. Probably 2019, 2018. And I was excited to hear that they were coming out with something new. You, of course, turned me on to them. So here's Jylhä, and I'm ready, man. I'm ready to dive into it.
Yeah, man, let's do it up. I'm gonna try to pronounce these in the original Finnish.
The proper pronunciation is not try to, it's butcher them. Yeah. That's what you're going to do.
We were talking about, we were doing plugs, and I was reading names of fighters, and of course they were all foreign names, and and Robert Winfrey is just tickled to death when I try to struggle fuck through someone's name that I can't pronounce.
Oh yeah.
Because I'll get about halfway through and then just get frustrated and give up, and of course say something stupid. That's my thing.
It becomes like baked beans or
Mr.
Schmigeggy, something like that.
And I did that the last time Robert and I recorded a podcast together, and he was like, "Don't ever change."
Good.
Yes, sir. All right. So the first 3 tracks on here, of course, we're going to medley these. There are 13 songs on here. I don't think there's a song less than 3 minutes long, and some of them go over 6 minutes. So it's a fairly lengthy album. It's about an hour, 13 songs. We are going to medley the fuck out of these 3 at a time. First one is Verkoira. I don't know why I'm reading these in a Spanish accent. The It's fucking
Do it
Finnish.
for the rest of the podcast, please.
I'm gonna just keep I'm gonna keep doing like different accents.
Oh, perfect.
Verikoira, Niemi, and Level Uta.
Love it.
Sounds like I'm fucking speaking in some sort of like Star Wars language. UTD!
Houdini!
All right, now that we've insulted the fucking Finnish. Hey, your language sounds like space fiction.
Oh, I'm curious what their thoughts of our language is.
We're ugly Americans. I'll just go ahead and say that.
Yes.
The French were ahead of the game in hating us from the start.
Yes.
All right, here we go. First 3 songs off of here. As I said before, let's go ahead and give them a listen. Here we go. All right. Well, those are the first 3 tracks there from the new Korpiklaani album, and so far so good. You know, this. I don't want to start off this way, but I feel like I must. This sounds like a Korpiklaani album without the distinctive Americanized alcohol-driven songs.
Oh, okay.
You know, and they've done those. They've absolutely, especially like their earlier stuff. It was like, we are men of the woods, and that is the music we'll play. Like, okay. And then it was like, oh yeah, also beer, and everyone was like, yeah, that's the stuff we like.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, but men of the woods, we are woodmen. They're like, but also vodka. Yes, more of that. Like, oh.
Well, I envision Korpiklaani as the tavern band. All right, These are the guys that show up. You know, they're going to drink, but man, are we going to have a good time listening to some music, some accordion, some guitar, and just some folk metal to be told. That first song, I just want to point something out. I remember when I initially started the first track on my first round of listening, and I thought we were in the middle of a covers album where I don't know if you picked it up or not, but it very much sounds like I Hate Myself for Loving You by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, the very beginning.
God. I was struggling with that. And I'm like, I know I've heard this tune before. And I'm like, no, it's not Bad Reputation. And I knew it was Joan Jett. Yep. And I'm like, what? I couldn't place it. Like, normally I'm the one that's like, oh, I know that riff.
Yep.
Thank you, because that was going to keep me up tonight.
That, dude.
Right. That's why I hate myself for loving you. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
If you start out that song and you go through the Joan Jett song in your head, it almost goes beat for beat, and then of course it immediately takes the accordion hits, and you know where you are. It's Korpiklaani, and things change. It's not Joan Jett all the way through. It's just right there at the beginning, and it just felt so odd to me. But it's a heavy song. It's a heavy start to the album. Got some crunching riffs in there in that first track, which is great. What's our translation for the first track? Does it say there?
Sure. I can give you the first 3 here. Bloodhound, Peninsula, and Algae Clean.
Okay. All right.
If assuming that's right.
I thought track 3 being titled Algae was strange, but then again, I mean, the third track is a slower bit of a jig, and you can see the tavern elements are there, but it feels like a ballad almost. Say ballad. It's slower, obviously, than the first 2. I think we hit the ballad in the next track, actually. But the second song was pretty heavy, and there was some thrash in there. I don't know if you picked that up. You could tell that when the guitar hits, it stands out because you're used to hearing the accordion and the violin, and then when the guitar hits, I mean, there's some like metal guitar that is played throughout this album. Really sticks out to me. It seems like they kind of went in a pretty heavy direction, but it's not. It's not the typical heavy metal that we hear. This is definitely folk metal. But yeah, as for all 3 tracks, I probably liked, of the 3, the first track the most. Because it brings you in and you're ready to rock and roll. And they did their job, man. We're opening it up. I can't say much for the whole alcohol-driven sound that we know and love from Korpiklaani. I could just tell you that when I started this album, I was expecting folk metal, and that's what I got in the first 3 tracks. Yeah. So let's see if it keeps it up.
Yeah, I think that's the one distinction, and I don't want to harp on it. I'm going to say it one more time, and then we'll move on. But when a new Korpiklaani or a Finn Troll or any of those bands gets announced, like, I'm really looking for something that stands out and is distinctive.
Yes.
And when it's just more of the greatness that came before it, but not necessarily distinctive. And it was funny, I was listening to the Hatebreed show that we did back in, I guess it was December.
Yeah.
And there was a conversation that we had about the sameness of bands that we like, and we like the sound, and it's like, yeah, it's more of what they've been doing. It's not bad, it's just not distinctive. And that's already where I've landed with this album. Where it's like,
in the first 3 tracks.
Well, I listened to it this morning on the way to my CAT scan, and just to let everyone know how my health is going. And I'm listening to it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm enjoying it. Like that's the thing. It's like I don't want to sound like I didn't like the album, but there are times.
It's a Korpiklaani album.
There are times where like I'll stop and like I'll quick text you, or I'll like send you a picture or something. I'm like, this is the jam. I didn't necessarily have one of those moments. I was like, I'm enjoying this. This is good music to, I was already anxious about having to go up to the cancer hospital today, and this kind of got my mind off of it for the drive up there. But that's kind of where it ended for me.
Well, as we go through the rest of these tracks, I've got notes here that are probably going to support exactly what you just said. I think he just hit that point a lot quicker than I did.
Sure. All right. That's what she said, by the way.
Oh, baby.
All right, so the next three songs are Millie, good old Millie from around the way. It's actually not what I don't know how to pronounce it, but
I wouldn't even begin to try.
The track 4 on here is translated into Grinder,
okay.
Windless, and then Wordless Land, like you do.
I hope Grinder is, Millie is not the translation of the app over there in Finland.
This is pretty gay. There's anything wrong with that.
No idea what they're saying. The only translation I have here is of the title, so who knows what we're getting when we listen.
Why is there a lot of groaning in this? All right. All right, so Millie, Tulaton, and Sanaton Ma. It's, again, sounds like a Star Wars character. All right, here we go. The next 3 songs.
näitä puita ei koske. Sen itku peittänyt kaiken maan. Tuuleton voisi hiljainen olla, vaan se yllä kulkiessa huomataan. Istuu vaiti, makaa kuura kasvoilla, kun aamu syntyy takaa pimeän. Paikalle täytyy joutua.
All right. So those next three songs that we heard, I actually thought were pretty good. Tualatin actually kind of reminded me of Lordy. Like, it had a very sinister sound to it.
Okay. Yeah, there's a few good things out of there. I liked the Jedi Sanaton Ma. That was a great. That was okay. There was some catchy stuff in there. So track 5 is where I wrote out. It was tough to come up with anything to say about the songs we were listed to. It really is. Tualatin, which I think translates into windless. Is that what it has there?
Hang on,
or calm. That's the two things that I came up with.
This is track 5, right?
Yep, track 5.
Windless.
Okay. I mean, it's not offensive, so it's not like I'm trying to turn it off. This is clearly, for me, these 3 tracks start to drift into background territory.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's anything bad. It's just that, there's nothing, like you said, that really stands out. But it's not... We use the word samey to describe the sound of a band. These tracks aren't all samey. They are running. They're the track 4 felt like it had a bit of a ballad to it. They're slower. It's not going to get my blood pumping, but I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting. I read where somebody had said that Korpiklaani is. They're at the tavern, and they're there to provide the party for everybody, the atmosphere. And not every song's got to be, 1,000 miles per hour and involve all the instruments going at just Mach speed. There's time to tell stories, and there's time to slow it down. And that's kind of what I'm getting from what we've heard so far, is that they're just slowing it down because it's time to slow it down. We're about the middle of the party, let's kind of catch our breath a little bit. But yeah, of the 3, I think Sanaton Moss stuck out to me the most, and that's probably where I'll leave it. The other 2, not the greatest in my opinion, but again, not offensive.
One thing I think the album has going for it, and you kind of touched on it, was it's not samey. They are very distinctively different songs.
Yes.
So you're getting different sounds, you're getting different approaches, you're getting different feels. And that's one of the things I like about it, and it's keeping my interest. I think this is the problem we run into with other bands, where I have an expectation, and when my expectation's not met, I'm a little disappointed. And so with and I've been down this road with Korpiklaani before. That's why I said sometimes here it's a soundtrack to Wood Nymptum. Okay, I enjoy that, but it's hard to talk about. Yeah, but then we're also alcoholics. Yes, that I relate to. That's fun.
Let's party.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the former, not the latter. And I think it's an interesting album. It's one of those where, and we're going to talk about the critical review when we come back from the next song break. So we'll listen to 3 more songs here, and then Jesse will hit us up with some reviews, and we'll see what some of the others say. Because I think you and me, who, our approach to things is well, let's listen to it and see what it is, and we're not professional reviewers. Neither one of us is especially a talented musician where there's certain things we can pick out. There are things that become obvious, and as fans, people have been listening to music for a while. Before we can identify riffs and stuff like that, but when you really get down to the nitty gritty of music review, that's just not what we do. So I'd be curious to see people who do this professionally what they thought of it, because with us, we're getting kind of a, it's nice, but it's too big.
It might be too big.
It might be too big. All right. So the translation for the next 3 are Lark, Miero, and Bass. Hello, can you go? Death Row.
What a brother no.
What a brother no. And in the original Finnish, it's Kiru, who I think is a character in Demon Slayer.
Most likely.
Miero and Winnie the Poha.
That's right. The Spanish version.
Yes. Or Poja. God.
They may actually say it in the song, and we'll find out that it's completely different from what.
Do you know how elated I get when I try to read something in a foreign language and then I hear the music and I'm like, oh, I got it right. Cool.
Hey, look at me!
I feel like I got like 100 on the quiz.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go, friends and fans alike. All right. What'd you think of that one?
Those three. So, track 7 and track 8. Okay. So, yeah, you can hear at the beginning of those tracks, there's like this. It's heavy. And that's the way I want the tracks to be. But then all of a sudden they turn into something completely different. It's like I want the heaviness that they bring to stay throughout the whole song, but of course, that's not their thing. So
let me tell you how like anxiety inducing it is to not have given an album multiple listens, and so like I'm trying to, like, I know you're going to ask me at the end of this, all right, well, which one do you want to pick for the list?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm really only got this one listen to judge it by, and I'm like, okay, this one sounds, oh, it's slowed down again.
Yeah.
All right, well,
yeah.
I'll tell him to do this. No, this one slowed down too. God damn it.
Yeah. I know, man. It kind of, it's just one of those things, bless you, where it turns around and just kind of, I don't want to say it lets you down, because, like I said, you should be expecting Korpiklaani to do their thing. But it's, for me, I was just wanting more, and I didn't get it. So you ready to hear some reviews?
I am. All
right. So I grabbed a few tidbits from some of the web journals out there. No, that's not right. Tuanellamagazine.com. I'll read their little paragraph.
I like to have sandwiches with tuanella on it.
Oh, yeah. I got a bag of tuanella down here in the trash that's stinking right now. Altogether, this album shows a very refreshing side of Korpiklaani, where a lot of new refreshing elements have been blended in their somewhat reinvented sound. This might just be their best studio effort since Manala. There are plenty of things that are very inspiring. Take, for instance, the backing vocals. While not something that I usually pay attention to in Jylhä, it seems like they created an extra dimension into the many different detailed layers of their songs. So I'd say that's a pretty positive outlook for them. I don't know if I totally agree with it, but they're saying it's the best studio effort since Manala. I for some reason, I can't recall all of the previous Korpiklaani record, but I liked it a little bit better than this one. Spoilers. So anyway, going to loudersound.com, Korpiklaani's newest album, Folk Metal Berserkers Put Down the Grog and Get Serious. That is the title of the article. And I will tell you that I do feel a very serious vibe coming from the album. Even though I have no idea what they're saying, it just seems like it's more serious. They are missing the playfulness and madcap energy that has defined much of the Finns' career to date. Fans who have longed for the band to show a little more variation may be intrigued, but others may long for the time they were the life and soul of the party. That sounds like you might have wrote that one, Mark. Mm-hmm. The website folkandrock.com, I figured they were going to give them a pretty good review, and I grabbed a couple sentences. This is the album is an innovative album with great storytelling and excellent musicianship. The Finnish kings of folk metal have never sounded better. So let's just do some numbers. Everybody loves the numbers. Kerrang gave it a 3 out of 5. Metalwani gave it an 8 out of 10. New Noise Magazine gave it a 3.5 out of 5. And folkandrock.com gave it a 9.6 out of 10. So I would say it's definitely better than average, and a lot of these, a few of these sites are saying it's some of the best stuff that they've done yet. So there you go. That's what other people have been saying. There's a few things in there I disagree with, and a few things that I definitely agree with. I definitely don't think this is something that's, to me, the best that they've done. And I've only listened to 2 albums, so that right there is what I definitely disagree with. But do you have anything you got to say about that, or you want to go into the next? What we got, 4 left?
I can see why some of these. I'm not totally surprised by some of these reviews saying,
Well, when your website is called Folk and Rock.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think for me and you, like, we're always looking for something that stands out. I mean, look, let's not kid ourselves. Our favorite albums have been pirate metal albums.
Yep. That is the caliber of reviewers you get here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So let's be serious here for a moment. We're always looking for something that's a little off the beaten path, a little quirky, and I think a lot of the serious metal reviewers are looking for serious metal in a serious world, and you and I are looking for fucking what is it? Somebody the pirate gorilla.
Oh yeah, Harambe.
Harambe.
Yeah.
So and I think that's more my point. Like, I was actually listening to again, I was listening to one of our old reviews, and like we brought up Heavy Saurus. You and I we did their Christmas album, Heavy Saurus, a few years back. It's probably lost to time now, but it'd almost be worth revisiting for that reason. But like we loved Heavy Saurus, and not because they sounded better than any other band. It was because it was a bunch of people dressed up as fucking dinosaurs.
Yes, yeah, and it was good. It was good.
Yes,
it was definitely a great album. Just real quick, to kind of bounce off of one of the things that you were saying, the type of reviewer that I am, what I bring to the table and stuff that I like, such as storytelling. I don't have any idea what they're saying here,
right.
So I can't.
There's an entire element of this that's
missing. It is completely missing. I did find out though that I think it was in the I had it right here in front of me. I want to say it was the Kerrang. It was the Kerrang review. So they said that none of the lyrics for this album were written by any band member. It was a guy by the name of a poet actually and author, Tuomas Keskimaki. So he wrote all the lyrics apparently that we're getting. I thought, well, are they just talking about one song? They didn't specify that. They said, so it sounded like that guy actually wrote the lyrics for the whole album, which is interesting. For a band to take the lyrics from somebody else, then again, maybe it's more common than I actually realize, but most bands that we talk to, members of the band are the one contributing the lyrics to the album. Apparently that's not the case here, which is interesting.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up here. We've got 4 more songs left. The last 4 are Carefree, Enola's Open, Feast, and Roots, otherwise known as Huola Tamat, Anolan Acquiet, Pidat, and Jarret.
Sure.
How much knew a Jarret from France?
Where the naked ladies dance.
Yes. All right, here we go.
Siellä tunnettu, meidät nähtiin vain yhden takaa. Joka heilui niin pirusti kun humalaan miestä aina ajanut ennen kuin makaa. Sitä lattia siivottu on koko viikko ja hiljekin kannettu mettään. Nyt yksi siellä potkii ja helkäkä heilu niin sujuvasti ei osu kenttään.
Well, that last one sounded like it came from the fucking old 80s Tolkien movies. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, we don't want to go to war today. But the Lord of the Land says, just say hey.
That's right, baby. So, Adam Cole.
Adam Cole, baby.
By the way, I'm taking Pedot, or Pedot, however you say it there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you are, because I was very close to doing that, so give me the first one.
Okay, Anolan Akat, or, oh no, you're talking about Verakoya, whatever it is. Okay. Yeah. So our last four, I think that the final two finish strong. I said finish
Dick.
because it's they're from Finland.
Yeah, no, I got it. Thanks.
All right, let me explain it one more time. So but I think those two finished strong. It did sound like at the beginning. Again, it's one of those strange Korpiklaani songs that kind of sound really mellow at the beginning, and then all of a sudden we're ramped up, at the end. Because my notes were like it gets really metal as we go towards the end of that song and to the end of the album. But again, it's the dichotomy of what we've had before, where it starts out strong and then kind of goes easy with some of the songs. So anyway, I'm going with Feast. You're going with Verakoria. I'll put them on the list. Give me your final thoughts. I'll give you my final thoughts, and we'll get out of here.
It's fine. I think I said it before. It's nice, but it's too big.
Yeah.
It's one of those albums where when I was listening to it, I was enjoying it, and when I stopped, I immediately forgot about it.
Yeah.
This one will not stick with me. This is not one. In all honesty, so just as a point of comparison, while I was driving and I was listening to it, when I first got in my car, I had on satellite radio. Or I had on satellite radio at some point today, and I almost texted you like, "Oh, this is the jam," and it was the new Lamb of God single.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you jump on Spotify, they just released.
I know what you're talking about because I saw it pop up
Ghost
in my
People
email.
or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like Ghost Shape People.
Yeah, so like, just so. I'm supposed to be focusing on the new Korpiklaani, and I hear the new Lamb of God single, and I'm like, that's the jam right there. Looking forward to seeing them, assuming it doesn't get canceled. I really hate that that's the caveat that I have to put on everything now. Assuming it doesn't get canceled. We were listening to, my wife wanted, we rarely, oh God, I'm telling like 9 stories here. I feel like my daughter. But we were listening to, my wife, I had made dinner tonight, and my wife was like, hey, why don't you put on some music? And I'm like, oh my God, you never want to listen to music. You usually just want to ramble about your stupid job. Said the understanding husband. So I was like, oh, yeah, all right, let's put some music on. That's my preference. And, so I put on Weezer. I figured that we could all agree on Weezer. And we're going to be, and then I said, like we had been listening, it was just literally like, just play a random assortment of Weezer songs. And we listened to it for a good hour, 2 hours, and I kind of turned to Melissa and I was like, we're going to have so much fun at this concert later this summer when we see them live. And then I took a breath and I'm like, assuming it doesn't get canceled.
Assuming it doesn't get canceled.
And so I was talking to you about that Lamb of God single, and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to go see Lamb of God with Megadeth in West Palm Beach, assuming it doesn't get canceled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have to now say that after everything.
Yeah. There's got to be, knock on wood. Hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel and we're getting ready to turn that corner and things will start finally getting back on track to somewhat normalcy. Just got to cross your fingers. So yeah, you said you were listening, then you heard the Lamb of God. So I assume that took your attention away from the Korpiklaani album, or is that what you were getting at?
So yeah, my point being that so all day today, there have been other things that have been more on my mind. Like there was this band that the Korn drummer put together. They did a cover of Midlife Crisis by Faith No More. I sent that to you earlier. My buddy Chuck, who's a big Faith No More fan, and I was like that's going to stay with me. That I'm going to want to listen to again. The Ice Nine Kills cover, Can't Help Falling in Love with You. which I sent you guys the video of, and I said thank me later, because I'm funny like that. Like, that's going to stick with me. Nothing on this album is going to stick with me.
Everybody thanked you, by the way.
Yeah, sure. So, like, December's going to roll around. And you're like, okay, end of the year show, and you're going to go back to me at some point, and you'll be like, what did you think, rate the new Korpiklaani, and I'm going to have to remember a conversation we had in February. And I can tell you right now what's going to happen come December. I'm going to go, I don't remember that album. I guess it was okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to downgrade the album because it's not memorable, stupid me. But on the other hand, I know I'm going to hear better albums later this year that I'm going to want to grade higher than this. So I'm going to go ahead and say B+.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Most likely, I'll be revisiting the tracks that we picked, because usually I'll run that about 3 or 4 more albums. We'll have a pretty good selection of stuff to kind of listen to and pass an hour away on our greatest hits of 2021 for the Metal Hammer of Doom. So I'll be listening to the songs, and I found myself last year when that would happen. Normally, albums that I didn't give much of a chance to, I kind of went back and checked out again. So most likely, this will probably pique my interest at some point later on this year. But we know that we wanted so much more from this band. We could have gotten so much more from this band, and just because they took this creative route where, if things got more serious for them in this album, then that's great. That's just not for us. It's probably for a lot more people out there that appreciate and can actually understand the language and what they're talking about. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I will throw this on in the background if I want to throw something on in the background, and I would have no problem with it. There's not a skippable track on here for me. It's not like I was like, oh my gosh, I can't listen to this. That never happened.
I didn't nope out on any of these.
Yeah, every single track is fine. There's nothing that there's just nothing that blows us away and go, okay, hey, that's the track. Okay, these are the tracks. When you could get 2 or 3 of those in a 13-song album, I consider that good. There just isn't any of those off of here that make me go, oh, I want to listen to this again. So yeah, all right, that's kind of where I'm sitting.
All right, so that's the end of our show. As far as what we're doing for the Metal Hammer of Doom, we're going to take the next 2. No, we'll be back next week. We'll just be back on a Thursday instead of a Wednesday because Ronnie Adams. So we're doing the new Serenia album, which actually comes out this Friday, February 12th, I believe. It's either come out already or I think it comes out Friday. It doesn't matter. I did not write it down. I just listed the show. So there. But so the new Serenia album will be out by then. And we will review it. It's called Riddles, Ruins, and Revelations. You know what? This is going to bother me. Because I feel like now I fucked up.
To know.
Yeah, I got to know, Tommy.
Gots to know.
Serenia. Norwegian Gothic metal, buddy. Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, I looked up the wrong thing.
Oh, wow.
I'm in Africa somewhere.
Wales?
Yeah, Wales, Africa. Yes, all right. Jesus Christ. Riddles, Ruins, and Revelations does, in fact, come out February 12th.
Okay. All right, good deal.
Yeah. And there's a cover on this one. It's called Voyage from Desireless.
Okay.
You know any Desireless?
No.
You don't
know.
No,
I have no idea.
No clue what the fuck I'm talking about. So that's next week, and then we'll skip a week. We're going to skip a week because we're doing Ed Brubaker stuff, but I'm going to have you on to talk about Too Old to Die Young instead of doing the Metal Hammer of Doom. So, you don't get away a week away from me. How about that?
That's all right. I'm all right with that. I'm okay. I can handle it.
And then March 3rd, we're doing the new Epica album, Omega. And then on March 10th, we're doing A Day to Remember, You're Welcome. You're welcome. On St. Patrick's, we have a very special St. Patrick's Day. We've never done this before. We've never had St. Patrick's Day on a Wednesday when we do the Metal Hammer of Doom. We'll be doing a band called Fiddler's Green, 3 Cheers for 30 Years. It's an entire album full of, Irish covers.
Okay. All right. I can dig that.
And then we're back to our regularly scheduled programming with Rob Zombie, the Lunar Ejection Kool-Aid Eclipse, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, fucking taco, deep fried poop.
He just grabs a dictionary and just like
fucking throwing darts at it. Like whatever the darts land on, that's the name of the album.
That's horrible.
So the new Rob Zombie album, March 24th. And then Tomahawk. We did Tomahawk way back in the day, right?
Oh, I don't know. Doesn't ring any bells.
Fairly certain we did. It's a Mike Patton side project from Faith No More. So it's the new Tomahawk album, Tonic in Immobility. You might like it. Might be your thing. Might not be. Who knows? We'll take a week off because we got a lot of Godzilla, King Kong stuff to do. And then take another week off. But Jesse's going to be back to do an on trial for Back to the Future 2. The original Back to the Future Long Road to Ruin is now lost to time.
No pun intended.
Yeah, we a lot of the stuff from the Blog Talk Radio era is gone. We can't get it back again for whatever reason. Like the Blog Talk Radio server, if you go back past a certain year, it's all just gone now. So
yeah, it's there. You can click on the link, but good luck getting to whatever it's going to take you to, because usually it's an error page.
Right. So, long story short, we're going back and revisiting some of these things, and if for those that have been longtime fans, maybe you remember this, Jesse actually came on an episode of Long Road to Ruin, and we did the entire Back to the Future trilogy, and Jesse was taken aback, and then took umbrage.
Here's the thing, Mark. You don't even remember it. I was a fan at the time, and I was listening live. You were talking to Winfrey. And
okay.
I got so upset with your commentary about Back to the Future Part 2 that I booed the man digitally through Facebook.
Okay.
That's right. I booed the man.
So you weren't on that Long Road to Ruin. You
just
just
mentioned
heard
me because I was listening live.
Okay.
And I was interacting with you guys. So I was there in spirit.
Yeah,
So
I want to say, like, we got to Back to the Future 2, and I was like, this movie sucked. And like, if you could blink twice through the internet, you did. And then you started sending me messages to the tune of "Go fuck yourself, Radulich," along those lines. And I was like, "Oh, Jesse's a little butthurt that I made fun of his pet movie."
Yeah. So I get my chance. I get my chance to defend my precious purist trilogy, the purist trilogy, sir. So yeah, it'll be fun. I'll get to be talking about. So we're putting Back to the Future 2 on trial, correct?
Correct. Yeah, just Back to the Future 2.
I'm excited about
that. Because
That'll
1 and 3 are fine, and I don't have any problems with them. It's 2 that,
a lot of people crap over 3 for some reason as well.
Really?
Like I got one guy he calls it it's Back to the Future, the turd one. You're funny. You're funny.
Oh my God. It's so much better than 2.
Now, listen, I love every single one of them. I don't want to get into this with you tonight. It's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen.
Well, leave it alone. It's absolutely fine.
Saving it all up for the money shot when it comes.
Yes. So we're gonna. And the point of me bringing it up was we're gonna skip that week to do the Back to the Future podcast, and then we'll be back for Mortal Kombat week on the Metal Hammer on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. And the Metal Hammer of Doom contribution to the Mortal Kombat week is we're gonna look back at the original Mortal Kombat the movie soundtrack. Yeah. We're gonna look at More Kombat. And we're going to look at Mortal Kombat 2, whatever the hell the name of the second one was called. We're not going to do the entirety of all 3 soundtracks because I don't want to do this for 3 hours. But we will take selections from each one of those soundtracks and do a review of that.
Okay, over under on how many times we are going to scream Mortal Kombat?
1,000 squared.
Perfect.
And that's it for now. We're going to take off the last week of April because I have other stuff to do that week. But we've got plenty of Metal Hammer of Doom coming up and a couple of other fun projects. So I will tell you that in the month of May, if the new El Nino album comes out, we'll do that. Otherwise, we're going to do Spanish folk metal. So if you're not getting enough folk metal from the Metal Hammer of Doom, oh boy, have we got some stuff for you coming up.
Our intent will be to enunciate every single title in a Finnish accent instead of a Spanish accent.
That's how we're going to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, with either Spanish folk metal or El Nino, neither of which are...
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. And then we're back to Weezer again. May 12th, we're going to do their tribute to Van Halen, Van Weezer, which is scheduled to come out May 7th. And then we're going to go back. You know, Robert Winfrey made the point of saying, hey, you don't always have to do new albums if you're finding you need stuff to do and there's nothing good new coming out, but if you want to keep the podcast up, you should try doing some older albums. To that end, I found an entire genre that I thought Jesse would get a tickle out of. And because I do it all for Jesse Starcher.
That's right.
Nintendo Core, Jesse. Mm-hmm. I fell into a rabbit hole of Nintendo Core, and one of the Nintendo Core bands that was on the list is called Math the Band.
Math the Band. Cannot even think of a better band name other than that.
Yeah, so their most recent album, Flange Factory 5, the album, we will...
So wait a second. Hold on. Clutch has the full Fathom 5.
Yep.
These guys have the Flange Factory 5.
Correct.
Oh, that's... I cannot wait to jump into this band.
So that's May 19th, Math the Band. We'll take another week off, and then 2 weeks off, as a matter of fact. We'll take 2 weeks off because we've got a lot of stuff going on. It's also my birthday. I don't necessarily want to record on my birthday if I can help it. And then June 16th, we're back, and that's the last listed show I have for a while, so I'll stop there. We're going to be doing... unfortunately, this is the earliest I could fit it in with all the other stuff we have going on, but Bongzilla has an album coming out on 420, because of course they do.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, man.
Bongzilla. So
nice.
They've got Weedsconsin coming out on 420. We will talk about it on June 16th.
I wonder what this album could be about.
It's a mystery. All right, so that's that. That's all the Metal Hammer of Doom stuff and Jesse Starcher stuff for the most part. That will be. I mean, you might hear him hither and thither, but that's the main stuff I have listed. In the meantime, myself and David Wright and Robert Winfrey reviewed Disenchantment Part 3. Myself and Chris Sheehan and Evan Bevins reviewed Black Panther: The Client. Tomorrow, I was kidding Robert Winfrey about this last night. He did not want to let too many weeks go by without doing a Damn You Hollywood, so we put a bunch of like Netflix and VOD stuff on the schedule, and tomorrow is the latest one. We did Outside the Wire last week. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing a Korean space opera called Space Reapers.
Oh, boy.
And Sean Comer has threatened to be on the show, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah.
And hang on. And I think that's that. Last week we did Weezer, OK Human. He was actually on that show. We did AEW Dynamite Beach Break with The Nuptials. The Nuptials, Jesse Starcher.
The Nuptials.
Yes, The Nuptials of Kip Saban and Penelope Ford. We also reviewed the Royal Rumble and All Hell Megatron. Cole Marantat came on. He's my Transformers expert. We talked All Hell Megatron, finally. I didn't wait for like a new Transformers movie or anything to come out. I'm like, fuck it, we're just going to talk about it now.
Get her done.
Get her done. All right, that's it. That's all the plugs for now. I think I've talked long enough. So you're essential, but occasionally you fucking throw something out there. Oh, man. I don't know. You got to listen to last night's show just to hear me fucking complain about you. I was like, oh, Mr. Essential can't do his own podcast, but he can do fucking hell of a boss, sure.
Hey, that was part of the bet that I had with Alexa Sena, where the Cleveland Browns lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, so her choice was Hell of a Boss, which is an animated YouTube series put out by Vivzy Pop. And that released yesterday. It's me and Alexis talking animation, so she, she's always going to bring it. And we had a good time. We had a real good time. Look, I may have got a couple podcasts in the can, such as Unspoken Issues, number 24, coming at you with Crimson number 1. That dropped on the 6th of February, where Chris Armstrong and I talked about a cliffhanger book from back in '98. It was brought to us by Humberto Ramos. So yeah, you can check it out. It's about vampires. It was a fun discussion. Also, syndicated source material is hitting every other Saturday. Most recently, we did Marvel's House of M, which was the 6th episode that aired on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. I was lucky enough to go in there before Blog Talk shut everything down and grab all of the old source materials.
And that's all he grabbed.
It is.
Everyone loves the bad guy. Everyone loves to go fuck yourself. That's what I say. Long road to ruin, long road to blow me. How about that?
I'll just grab all the source materials. So, hey, you can look forward to hearing some... Hey, episode 6 was the first time Ronnie Adams came onto the show officially to talk about a book. So, House of M, if you're into WandaVision right now and you're enjoying that show on Disney Plus, this is something that kind of takes place after those events, that kind of what we're experiencing here. If I was to try and nail it down, but enjoy that. And I'm trying to think. We do have another episode of Unspoken Issues slated to show up on the 17th of February. That's our discussion about Savage Dragon number 13, where the Image creators decided to swap books. So Jim Lee did an episode of Savage Dragon, and we also talk about some other stuff that happened in the Robservations podcast. A lot of fun. Chris Armstrong and I had discussing that. So I think that's all of the podcasts that I'm on and may be showing up here in the future. So, yes, Mark Radulich, I am essential, damn it. Essential.
Yes, sir. All right, folks, that's all from me. Thanks. I'm driving. For Jesse Starcher, I'm Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.